I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna have to go with Sheepy on this one. Gonna have to go with Sheepy.
Mm-hmm. I think that I'm gonna have to go with Akai, you know, because I'm on the opposite side. That's just how it works, right? That's what we're doing here. He's got Aggro Bats, which has been performing very well, and he's also got Nep Shadow, which I think is actually a dominant deck right now that people are starting to pick up. We're gonna see a lot of Nep Shadow today.
Is fighting and despair all you
Shadow
know?
doing well? Come on, man.
Come on, man. Shadow, it doesn't even matter what you play. If you got good Shadow cards in it, you're probably doing well regardless of what deck you play, so.
Yep. But Sheepy opted to lead with his Haven list, and his Haven list had some very interesting cards in it. It's got Gilgamesh in it, man. Like, it's got a one-of
I've actually been seeing Gilgamesh rise in popularity like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, super crazy. I'm actually kind of confused, too. I thought Haven got banned out this match, but apparently it did not. Oh, no, it didn't. It got banned on Akai's side. There we go. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Gilgamesh has seen a lot more play. You see it in all the neutral variants, like Neutral Rune, Neutral Sword even is packing it sometimes now. Yeah. It's just Neutral Blood, if it's still there. It's just a really strong follower to finish off like an aggro or a mid-range game plan.
Not only that, but it gets buffed by Alice as well. So,
oh, like, God. it feels good. You ever slam down a Gilgamesh and attack for, I don't know, like 8 with it, and you're just like, okay, all right. It's pretty good. All right, so let's get into the game here. So Sheepy's got a pretty good curve on the draw. He has the option between Snow White and Beast Call Aria that he can actually pop with a Hollow Dogma. So it might actually mean that Beast Call Aria is going to come down first here. And Akai has got an okay hand. He's got a slow hand, but this is how Nep plays out. Nep's got a couple things it does early. It tries to just kill things and just stall until turn 7 or 8 for when the Kawi and the Nep show up.
So, for those who don't know, Akai played Unica. Unica is a 2 play point follower 2/2 that at the start of your turn restores 2 defense to your leader. So, in a way, it kind of acts like a pseudo ward. Your opponent doesn't really want it sitting there for too long because Unica, if unchecked, can heal a lot. And it is incredibly frustrating to deal with if you're playing an aggressive game plan.
Yep. Absolutely. And like I said, Sheepy, so what he did there was he put an amulet in play that has a natural countdown of 3, which means it'll pop over the course of 3 turns. But Hollow Dogma gets to cheat that by removing 2 of the counters from it and popping it instantly after that first countdown went away at the beginning of the turn. So, very aggressive tempo.
Yep. So, he's just opting to just get rid of that right away. Pacted Another God. What Pacted Another God does is destroys an enemy follower with 4 or less defense, so it's just going to kill it. And if you enhance it, you get to summon a Pluto that gets the power and defense of the follower you killed. So that can be very useful in a later game. Of course, he decided to use it early game because he just didn't want to take any unnecessary damage, wanted to protect Unica as well.
Absolutely. And so just to kind of go over the game plan, because it's kind of just a little bit back and forth right now, what Sheepy is trying to do is actually trying to be aggressive, which he's not been able to get a handle on doing so far. And what Akai is trying to do is, again, just stall to get the Mordecai out on turn 8, either by playing it itself or by playing Nephthys, which will put it into play. And Mordecai is the end game for this deck. It's just a 5/5 that can't die. It can be banished, though, which means that Haven does have a chance to actually remove it from play with cards like Priest of the Cudgel or Blackened Scripture, cards that actually just banish a follower and remove it from play. It doesn't actually trigger the last words of Mordecai, so it can come back into play.
Yeah, so I can just tell you from personal experience that as a Haven player, if I know that I'm fighting against Nep Shadow, which Sheepy would know, I'm going to be holding on to a banish, at least something. And even in this position right now, where he could play Priest of the Cudgel and clear the board or whatever, I would be holding on to it so that I would have something for that Mord.
Right. I think this turn is probably just an easy Ancient Lion Spear just to clear off the followers. I guess he could Tea-Time here. He doesn't really have a Garuda to pop the Tea-Time immediately the turn after, so it might not be the most heads-up play. But he decides to go with the March Hares. Either one's really fine. They do essentially the same thing.
Right. I think that holding the Ancient Lion Spirit may be a little better because, you know, we know that, you know, Shadow has access to cards like Zombie Party on 7, Death's Breath. It has, you know, all those cards. Immortal Thane. You know,
That's
just
true.
gotta take those things out.
Want to play?
And then we're gonna come up on a turn where Sheepy really has all. He is the more aggressive deck. He is like the mid-range / tempo deck. However, I think he's just going to be playing a reactive game here. He's got plenty of reactive cards with multiple March Hares tea times, multiple Dark Johns, which will clear off a bunch of 2/2s. He's got the Ancient Lion Spirit. He's got the Priest. A lot of reactive cards, not a lot of proactive cards. So basically, he's just going to see if he can weather the storm.
Yeah, Akai's in a bit of a pickle here. Slight pickle. He's not necessarily drawing the way he wants to draw. Like, he would prefer to get these Mordekais out by using Nep. But unfortunately, he's not. So in order to protect himself, he played Underworld Watchman Kawi, which, when it dies, it will destroy whatever the strongest follower your opponent has, and you'll gain health equal to that. So, like,
the reset button.
Yeah, and it will help you out a great deal. And it's actually really good when you play it off of Nep, because Nep will come down, it'll flood the board with things, it'll kill them all, and then the last words effects of those cards will still trigger.
Yep, and that's how the Mordecai comes out, because it doesn't die when it dies, technically, and then Kawi will trigger immediately because it will die. Alright, so Sheepy deciding to go with some tempo. He's got to start building a board here. He's got to start dealing damage at some point if he wants to win this game. But he honestly could just win by removing all of these Mordekais and just not allowing Akai to actually execute his endgame plan through these Mordekais.
And not to mention, Sheepy has a pretty easy banish on this Mordecai. You know, he does have a Priest of the Cudgel, which he could trade both of these Snow Whites. I say both of them because that card acts as 2 cards. He can trade both of them into it. Then he can play Priest of the Cudgel. And when Priest of the Cudgel is evolved, it will banish a follower that has a defense of 3 or less.
Easy stuff. So basically all that's happening is Sheepy's going to say, you know what, I don't care what your end game is. I'm just going to try to, like, slow pace through it, deal with everything that you play against me. Executing this, what we talked a little bit about in previous casts, how mid-range kind of works. Like, it is a tempo deck, and it can have an aggressive start, but it also can transition into the late game with enough answers to basically just deal with what your opponent can do, and then just slowly push the game forward. And what he's kind of trying to set up to do right now is just set up a big enough board to where Dark John can come down and just push for lethal.
Yep. Well, right now, what's going to happen on Sheepy's next turn is that his March Hares from the couple of turns before, the one that's on 1 countdown, it will pop. So he will have yet another Tin Soldier in play. And Akai's things are looking pretty grim for him right now. He's just got this Mordecai that he can play, but I don't think, I was going to say, I don't think he wants to play that because he needs to, no pun intended, ward off the damage he's about to take. So
right. So I think this is an easy Tin Soldier evolve. There's no way to actually get another space on board to play the Dark John this turn, though. So Akai at least has another room, or another turn of breathing room here.
So we see that, Sheepy had just a little bit of a deviation from what we know of standard lists for Haven, and it seems to be working for him right now. I mean, he built it to be just a little bit more aggressive, but instead of that, he's getting a far more controlling style of hand, and that Nep, though.
It's good, but it's not going to summon a Mordecai.
Yeah, because he's already got those. He will be able to kill 2 things, though.
It's not the worst. Again, like we were talking about with Kawi dying, kind of like a reset button, killing the biggest follower your opponent has, plus gaining all of his power back as health. So, keeping you in the game for a little while longer here.
And, wow. Okay, so Sheepy just drew a Black Inscripture, so if he wants to use that on, say, yet another Mordecai that comes down, he can combo that with his Dark John in hand, and that would be pretty sweet. So, but right now, he's going to have to, you know, consider whether or not he's going to take out this Nephthys, or he's just going to hit him in the face.
I think, honestly, Sheepy's main game plan right here should stay the same. I think, honestly, he might even play the Dark John this turn and just forgo dealing with the next Mordecai just to keep pushing face. But he could also take the route of just, like we said before, extending the game. Like, he could play just the Divine Birdsong along with another March Hare's Tea Time just to, like, flood the board and just keep the action going. Okay, looks like he's going to go the more aggressive route. He's like, you know what? I don't care if you have another Mordecai. I'm going face.
I mean, he is putting his opponent at 6. So, oh, you got Wallet Neff. I love it.
Wallet Neff, that's right. One of the new ones you can get out of the pre-boxed decks.
Yeah. And the other Neff is probably going to trade here. Yep. Even Wallet Neff on board.
Now we're coming down to the end game. I don't actually know if Akai can get back into this game. I don't think he can tempo back. He has no Evo points to claim board. He only has these big Mordecais that don't do anything when you play them.
Yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate that he drew all of his Mordecais. Like,
right.
How does that... I mean, how bad do you feel after you draw all of your Mordecais, man? Like, this is bad luck.
That is bad luck. Can't pull them with Nephthys, meaning they don't just get into play for free.
Yep. You got to spend valuable time and whatnot against a deck that essentially counters you. So,
right. Exactly.
This feels awful, man.
So now Sheepy actually gets to take his mid-shadow in. Another type of mid-range deck that acts just kind of like the Tempo Haven deck that we saw. Has an aggressive early game plan, but can also go into the late game. And I think Akai is going to stick with his Nep Shadow deck. I don't see any reason for him to change that right now, because Nep Shadow is pretty good against mid-shadow.
Yeah. Oh, no, he changed. He switched to blood.
Okay. This is aggro bats. This is aggro blood. He wants to go face. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of this.
Yeah. But he does have the unfortunate unfortunate side effect of going second. So, that could play against him.
And it looks like Sheepy's doing a tech I've been seeing lately on ladder of running an Ephemera just to combo with Phantom Howl, which is another nice way to push late game damage. And maybe even trade off some smaller followers in the beginning if you have a good curve going first. I don't know if you keep it here. What do you think about Ephemera? I'm never really comfortable with keeping it.
The thing is, he knows that he's going to be playing against aggro blood, right? And do you really want a card in your hand that just does nothing on turn 4, right? So
you don't really need the extra power against the aggro bats cards, yeah. Much better curve.
But he did get a much better curve.
Yep. So this is actually a more aggressively minded mid-shadow deck. Still mid-shadow, but more aggro shadow.
Yeah, he got Orthrus in there. So
Orthrus, Skeleton. Is it Skeleton Fighter, Skeleton Knight? I always forget the name of the one on the far right up at the top. Skeleton Fighter. Right.
Yeah.
Getting that fight on.
Well, Sheepy opting not to play the 1-drop. That's an interesting
waiting for the shadow.
Do you really want to do that against aggro?
Going first, yeah. I don't know if I agree with that. Like, not playing the 1-drop there, like, when are you ever going to be able to play it? He can play it on turn 3, but how likely is he to have the shadow by then anyway?
Right.
And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, Skeleton Fighter is a card that's 1 play point for a 1/1, but if you have a shadow, it becomes a 2/2. So it makes more sense to hold on to it until you have a shadow, but right now, I don't know. Well, now he can trade. Now he can if he wants to.
And just to let everyone know what a shadow is, whenever a card dies or it goes for any reason or is discarded, like from your hand, let's say you overdrew, you gain a shadow. So shadow, the class, as a mechanic, is to take advantage of shadow, the mechanic. So
yes, shadow.
Yep.
All right. Easy plays. So the Zombie Party top deck was perfect. It allowed him to regain tempo, play his 1-drop for value. get going here. Like,
pretty sure you Angel of the Word here. Angel of the Word can or not. What?
Yeah, that was an interesting play. He doesn't shave any damage off the board.
Yeah.
It doesn't really set up for anything either. There's no like Vampiric Fortress to like, you know, keep Bat synergy going or anything like that. Night Horde.
Yeah, like I feel like he just was like, you know, man, hit me with everything you got.
Damage. That's right.
Right.
Hit me with what you got, exactly.
Alright, so Vania coming down, he'll play the Summon Bloodkin, he'll do 2 damage off of this. For you don't know, Vania has an effect that whenever a Forest Bat comes into play, it will deal 1 damage to your opponent. And then her evolution effect is that she'll summon a Forest Bat. So, in combination with other cards that generate bats, such as Killer Devil or the Summon Bloodkin, or even off of her own effect, she can do a substantial amount of damage to the opponent.
I don't know if I like this trade. This, again, is just leaving a bunch of damage for Sheepy to deal if he wants to. Basically, Akai, the way he's been playing this game, is just allowing Sheepy to do whatever he wants to do. He's been going for pure value in a matchup that's aggro versus aggro, right? So I don't know if that's correct line of play. I think he's taking a lot of extra damage this game that he doesn't need to.
He's leaving way more openings that he probably wouldn't have had he gone with, say, a different line of play. Like, for instance, last time playing the Big Knuckle Bodyguard, evolving to take out a follower, and then saving the plate for later.
Right.
Or in the turn before that, playing the Angel of the Word to take out the 1 defense follower. So it's like he's just leaving up this unnecessary damage that could cost him the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Sheepy's just thinking, do I really need to trade with the Vanya here? Can I value trade? Because I think I'm ahead in board. I have the Phantom Howl to finish with. He's got a lot of options here. I think he should just take out the bat and go face. Like, he's in a much different position than Akai's in. He has the board.
Yeah.
And that looks like what he's going to do.
Now, that was a draw. And he's not playing.
Wow. Again.
Yeah, I'm really puzzled here.
So, Big Knuckle Bodyguard deals 2 damage to him. He could have just waited until he was in Vengeance range to not take 2 damage from it, and maybe even play the Sabrewer that turn, and even use his play points better.
Yeah.
Interesting choices. I feel like he's just taking a lot of free damage this game.
Yeah, I think he's just like, this is the way I'm playing the game, that's it.
That's it. That's right. At least he's consistent. At least he's consistent. I'll give him that.
Very consistent. It would be the ultimate shut up if he wins this match.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, Sheepy's hand does not look good with the amount of shadows that he has access to. So, like, his early game looked good, but his mid-range options are Phantom Howl, when he's got 3 shadows left. If he was able to generate maybe a little bit more shadows early in the game, he could have Phantom Howled into Phantom Howl just to win the game outright. But as it stands, he's going to be out of shadows here pretty quickly.
Yeah. So he opted to play the Little Soul Squasher before generating the shadow because he wanted to be able to play his Phantom Howl. Because the Little Soul Squasher, if he had the amount of shadows that he for that, he would have actually ended up using up all of the shadows, so he wouldn't have any shadows for Phantom Howl.
Okay, so basically just setting up for lethal next turn. He's like, look, Akai, if you've got it, you've got it, but if you don't, I'm going to win.
Yep.
This ache, this thirst, quench them.
Sabrewer going to put a wrench in that plan by gaining 2 health back.
So Akai's gameplay up to now, although to us questionable, is kind of working out. It's because Sheepy's just kind of out of options.
Yep, he just ran out of cards. Ooh.
Oh, that's a card.
That was pretty good draw.
Yeah.
He only has the 4 shadows, so it's only gonna be able to take out 1 follower, which will be the Sabrewer, and then he can evolve to take out the Big Knuckle, which he will most assuredly do. There's no way you can leave that in play.
Nope, not when you're at 6.
No.
That one didn't count.
All right,
Now,
so
okay.
Akai could drop. Oh, that's game.
Oh, never mind. Great.
I was gonna
deck.
say something,
You're too strong.
but it appears that Akai won the match. Despite the earlier game.
The greatest thing about playing Blood when you're playing Razor Claws is just randomly top decking them and finishing off your opponent, just like you saw. You're just like, you know what? This game could be getting really hard right now. Never mind. We're good to go. Easy peasy.
Yup.
So now we actually get the matchup of the Nep Shadow versus Aggro Shadow. So this is Sheepy's deck, definitely a lot more aggro than mid-range. Has some mid-range cards, but definitely more aggressively minded, as we saw. This is really going to depend on who's on the play and what kind of draw that Sheepy gets. Because technically, I think Nep is favored.
Yeah, Nep is definitely favored in this matchup, primarily due to the to Kawi and to the massive amount of early game removal the deck tends to pack. So, but we do see Akai running Hell's Unleasher, and I can't remember the last time I saw that in a Nep list. So, like, or rather, any list. So, did
he full keep that hand right now? The Nep Fist and the Hell's Unleasher on the draw? Interesting.
He's like, you know what, man? I don't even care. This is
I don't even care. You know what? Doesn't matter to me.
Nope.
I don't need a mulligan. So Sheepy with a great curve here. He's got a 1-2-3. We'll see if he gets anything after the 3 drop.
Hey, who's so angry?
Alright, so Gold Chimera coming down. But Akai's hand is kind of, you know.
The keep of the Hell's Unleasher was really weird to me. I don't know why you keep that. Maybe that's his only mid-game option of coming back on board with the Evolution Orb. So maybe that's what his choice was about, which I can see, especially if he didn't pack any other mid-game cards in his deck. But looking at Sheepy's hand, Sheepy does not have a great hand here. Sheepy's got like a mediocre hand, unless he can keep this board alive, which it doesn't really look like Akai can do much about, other than this Hell's Unleasher.
Yeah. I mean, well, I will say this. Hell's Unleasher animated, pretty sweet.
This one not so animated.
Yeah, not so animated, so it's not sweet. Sorry.
That means he doesn't play Shadow enough. Come on, what are you doing, Akai? You gotta get your Shadow games up. Let's go.
So, Sheepy has access to, a few plays. That Lyrio was a good draw. He'll be able to evolve the Lyrio, take out the Hell's Unleasher, and trade into the 4/4 that it leaves behind. And then still be able to go face for 3, leaving his opponent at 13. So that is certainly a line of play that he could go for. And I think that is probably the line he's going to do.
Yeah, I can't really see anything else to do this turn. He could use the Zombie Party, but absolutely no reason to use that this turn. He could just completely ignore the Hell's Unleasher and Evo face. That's really the only other line to take here. And I think that's what he's like really harping on. He's like counting, he's like thinking, he's like, if I do that, what do I leave myself open to? He's got the Phantom Howl. He's got the O-Dial for an extra 2 damage. He's got the Phantom Howl. If you know the Ektar plan doesn't work, as in all the followers get removed from his side of play. So I kind of actually like going aggressive here. Doing a little Evo to the face, drops him to 11, and then an O-Dial the turn after drops him to 9. Phantom Howl essentially puts him on 2. So yeah, that's what he's doing.
That's what he's going to do. Seems good. All right.
He's thinking about trading here. I don't know why he would. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, if you went through that, you're committed to going face.
Yeah, you gotta commit.
You're definitely committed. Okay, so Akai is in a little bit of trouble here. He will. Okay.
Full clear.
All right.
Like a boss.
Alright, so for those who don't know, the Hell's Unleasher, when it dies, it leaves behind for Lich that falls into a 6/6. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness, he's got combo now.
Yeah, he's got Ephemera, but I was about to, I don't see him.
I think he's just pushing, just like I said. He's doing that game plan of I'm just going to keep dealing damage and try to kill you before you can play a Kawi. I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish that goal, though.
Yeah, he needs to get to 8 play points in order to, you know, straight blow out with Ephemera Phantom Howl, because he didn't go for it this turn. So he's going to need 8 play points for that, and currently he's going to be on 7 during his next turn. So this Demon Eater is going to trade into the Otile, and then that's fifth. So Akai has managed to survive up until the point where he can jam Akawi.
Yep. And Akawi will definitely help him here.
Yep.
Although, man, that combo is looming, dude. That combo, though.
It is looming.
Oh, the combo I'm talking about, for those of you who don't know, Ephemera will pump all of the Phantom Howl tokens an extra power. So instead of getting all 5 tokens and dealing 5, you play Ephemera and get 4 tokens and then deal 8.
But this is going to be 10 damage.
That's 10 damage right there.
Yep. So
got to 8 play points, dealt with the Kawi appropriately. That's game.
Yep. So scummy, man.
So scummy.
So scummy, man.
When you die like this, you're just like, really? Oh, look at him! He's dipping. There you go, Sheepy. I like it.
Oh my! Oh my God! Disastrous Sheepy there with a huge win. Look at it. He's so elated that he got to roll. Ephemera is one of my favorite. Yep. Right. Everybody's got the fever going on right now. Ephemera the engine.